Hey everybody, welcome back to Level Up Single Mom. We are here for another Woman Chat Wednesday. Just settle in, get yourself together. My name is Kiana Footman. I'm also affectionately known as Vitamin Key for anyone that knows me. And welcome to my platform. Level Up Single Mom is a platform where we discuss the areas of finances, self esteem, and today we're going to talk about our physical present. I have a very special guest. I really, really love her. She is a certified wellness coach. She's also a master trainer and an advanced yoga instructor. I met her over at Themis and Thoth, and she's going to talk to us today about how we can embody wellness through fitness. And I'm definitely really eager to get caught up with her about that. So I'm going to go ahead and play the intro. So I'm going to introduce to you Mrs. Tiffany Crawford Williams. We also know her as BWMMB. That means Black Woman Minding My Business, as we should. Hey there, Tiff. Hold on, I'm going to
Hello.
unmute you.
You did it. Hello.
Hi there. I want to thank you so much for coming on to my show today. I really, really appreciate it. I always would see you, and like I said, you have a very striking presence in the best way. When I first noticed you over at Themis and Thoth, and when I found out that you were a yoga instructor, I was just like, okay, there it is. Makes absolute sense. You definitely seem like you are very, very comfortable within your skin. And I wanted to discuss that for the Refine Your Shine focus point of my platform because I think it's really, really important that we master presence within our bodies, and it can help us to achieve so many things, whether it's in our career, in our love lives, and that's generally in our quality of life.
Yeah, absolutely. So where shall we begin?
Okay, so I think I always want to begin at the beginning. Were you always from a child interested in fitness?
Yes and no. I loved playing outside, but over at Themis, we talk about the complexities. So being outside was allowed to a point. You can tell I'm nice and melanated, but I and my family am one of the darkest skinned people. So you can tell if I'm one of the darkest, everybody shoots and tends to be high yellow. So I would go outside and play with the sun, and my grandma would be like, "Okay, you gotta come in the house because you'll get too dark." So it's all one kind of weird. And then also like girls just didn't play sports. It wasn't feminine. It was very masculine. So when I came to Dallas, we moved to Dallas when I was very young, probably about second to third grade. And I did some physical stuff, but again, I leaned in more towards the arts. And I was just like, oh, okay. Played basketball for a little bit, but I stopped going in seventh grade. So I was like, well, I guess my basketball career is over because these girls are towering over me.
Mm-hmm.
With corporate America, and essentially got that Black woman story of just being overwhelmed and stressed. And I would go to the doctor, I'm like, I don't know what's going on. And he's like, you need to try yoga. You're having panic attacks. And I was like, no, this is not a panic attack. He's like, no, I think you're having panic attacks at your desk. Why don't you try yoga? And I was like, yeah, that's super weird. And I'm a Christian and I ain't got time for all there and there doing witchcraft. No, thank you. So I started running. Uh, Once I started running again, I was like, this is live, and I'd get on the treadmill, pick it up, and I would cuss people out as I would run. I call them angry runs. And afterwards, if you've ever run, you know that runner's high is something special. And then I joined the run club. So that was super cool. But my knees did not like what I was doing to them. I go back to the doctor, and she says, go to yoga. So I'm like, I want you to back up and get off my mat. Let me just try it out. I go into the yoga studio and I'm like, what is this? My body is like responding. I'm like, oh my God, this is life. And I'm sweating. And if you've ever had a really good practice, at the end of practice in Savasana, I would have what they call yoga tears. And at first I was going, I don't want to call it a box studio. I'll just say I was going to a studio that was franchised. So they had a set system. And I didn't understand why every time I would go into Savasana, I would either cry or be in a panic, like just panicked. Well, I was telling my husband at the time, and there was a studio. I was driving 30 minutes out. He's like, hey, there's a studio right down the street. Try that. I don't know about that. He's like, just try it out. So I go in, first class is amazing. It may have been like, I don't know, if you could have fit 30 people in there comfortably, and it would be 15 to 30 people every time. People were so nice and so friendly. And then I keep hearing these people talk about the owner. And I start posting these pictures about yoga. And I have high school classmates reach out and they're like, hey, so-and-so teaches yoga and has a studio. And I was like, wait a minute. It comes to find out, someone that's 2 years ahead of me, he ended up being the studio owner. So I felt really comfortable. Well, I started going to his classes. Hey, Themis. And as he's watching, one day in Savasana, he came and he was like, I can feel the heat and the energy. Roll over to your side. And then I'm crying, I'm on my side. And after class, he came up to me and he was like, I don't want you to be afraid, but you must be healing from some kind of sexual trauma. And I was, excuse me? You will not read me like this, sir, in my class. I'm uncomfortable. Okay, you guys are all witches. I was still very much Christian. So when we would finish practice and say Om, I would pray because I was like, such lovely people. They're all going to go to hell, but they're lovely people. And I'm just like, okay, well, the more yoga I did, the better I felt. And this is right when I went on FMLA. I left corporate America. I'd taken a break, and essentially a YTT, a yoga teacher training, opened up. And my husband said, well, my boyfriend at the time, why don't you, try it out? Just see, what you think. Because I had taken YTT previously in 2012. This is 2015. Okay. And I'm just like, well, but my teacher is very special. I will say there are not a lot of people that hold true to, he's like immersed in, you don't eat onions, you don't eat garlic, very much into the spiritual. And hey, Christina, it was just different. And I also hate to say it, but because he's a person of color, I think was more mindful about respect, the tenements of yoga. And then just from falling in love with yoga and being probably one of the only Black yoga teachers in Dallas, I got to meet really good, cool people, neat people, beautiful experiences. But if you continue to practice the same type of yoga, you start to damage your body. They call it hyperextension. You get too flexible.
Oh, wow. Okay. Yes. See, now you're telling me things I didn't know.
Well, so think about your muscle is, the best way to explain it is think about the muscle as a rubber band, right? So when you look at athletes, the injury is typically based upon the muscle usage. If you look at a football player, say Emmitt Smith, I'm trying to think of somebody more prominent. or I'll say relevant. If you use the same muscle over and over and over, let's take, you know what, LeBron James, because LeBron practices yoga.
Okay.
Okay,
Yeah.
basketball players consistently run up and down on the track, right? They don't have really what's called static or isolation movement unless they're at the free throw line. But that running, they're constantly engaging their hamstrings over and over and over. So you take
Mm-hmm.
that rubber band, and what do? You tie it, you tie it, you tie it. What is it eventually going to do?
Snap.
Snap. That's one injury. So you have the injury that snaps. Well, then in yoga or in dancers, that the person is hyper extensive all the time. If you take that same hair tie and you stretch it and you stretch it and you stretch it and you stretch it, what happens? It pops.
Yeah.
So in fitness or in wellness, mentally, physically, emotionally, you're always striving for that balance. You don't want to over tighten, you don't want to overextend. You want to have balance. So it's like balancing the way that I like to tell people with wellness and coaching is like, okay, if you like to lift weights, what is the intention behind lifting the weights? Are you lifting it and are you talking to yourself? Because lifting weights is what we call controlled damage. What type of damage are you willing to place on your body to build it back up?
Mm.
Make sense?
Yeah, it
Yeah.
does.
So
Intentionality.
it all all movements, all things, all thoughts, when you speak, it should have some intention behind it. It should mean something, because I think the greatest example is probably Tiffany, in the sense that when we leave, all you have left is your words. And if your words are conflicting, the legacy that you leave is a bit
Themis said, "Uh oh, she's going out." Themis says he's lifting weights to look good. I hear you, Themis. I hear you. I feel like that's my problem too. Is that now I have had like fitness journeys. Oh no, I think I lost her. She'll be back. I have had fitness journeys, different various fitness journeys in my life where I lost a lot of weight. Like I lost like 70 pounds in high school from like 10th grade up until my prime. And then I had to lose a bunch of weight after I had my daughter. I want to say around like 50 to 80 pounds after I had my first daughter. And then in 2016, I think I showed it in the Discord. I just did a squat challenge just because, and that showed me that I could shape my body differently without having to go on any diets and things like that. So I've been like dibbing and dabbing with weight loss and fitness. But now that I'm getting older and I have different requirements, my knees ain't kneeing like they used to, and I'm embracing wanting to do a softer thing. I think I've always mentally wanted to, you know, beat my body into submission. But I'm recognizing that the best thing for me is to try to be as soft as possible with my body and try to find a happy medium and work with my body. So that's what I'm trying to do now. So I've always been a bit interested in yoga for that reason. Nia X says, I'm in a weight loss journey now. It's slower than I wanted. Me too. But I'm recognizing, oh, she's back. I'm recognizing that I wanted to sustain. I was more results focused before, but now I'm recognizing that I need to make a lifestyle change. So I know that that's going to take some time to transition into.
well. If I see that we're saying you're in a weight loss journey, I don't recommend people lose more than 2 to 5 pounds a month, because if you do it too fast, you're way more likely to bring it back. And ultimately, what I would say is, we have always been taught as women to not lift weights, but heavy lifting really is going to give you the greatest results. The other thing that I would say is, swimming is fantastic. A lot of things that are not necessarily that we have quote unquote access to, but you can make anything heavy.
Mm-hmm.
So you have a book behind you, right?
Yeah.
Grab a book for me.
Just I have a book right here.
Grab your book, and I want you to take the book and then put it in your right hand, and then bring your elbow up to a 90-degree angle, and then take your hand and make it go flat, and then draw your fingertips forward towards your screen. Do you feel the muscle engagement?
I do.
So this is how you lift weights without weights. You just need enough of force to engage the muscle. And if you stay here and hold it and just take it forward another inch to the point to where, do you feel the little tiny kind of, I used to think they're scared of bulk. Yeah, bulk for women, um, bulk comes from diet. So you have to eat like a weightlifter to look like a weightlifter. Typically, if you have enough resistance training, which right now, what you feel in your arm, bring it forward another inch, is resistance. You feel the resistance for the pressure, and you just feel all cylinders up, and then come forward another inch, and then lift your elbow up an inch. Now, do you feel where your triceps activated? So now you feel the burn.
Yeah, because I was going to say, this whole area right here is burning.
Yes. So essentially, in the 80s, when you used to hear people say, feel the burn, feel the burn, talking about muscle engagement. So passive, meaning we're not moving, but we're engaging the muscle, saying, okay, tricep, fire up and work. Okay, bicep, fire up and work. Now, if you bring it back up, then you'll feel like your traps start to work, or what they call your subscapularis. And you do this, now go up and down, micro pulses 15 times, just go. Well, let's do 10. So 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Now take it down and tell me, do you feel the burn in the arm?
Yes.
So when people say, I don't have weights, you don't need them. I'm glad you like that. Yeah,
I was talking about that when you had disappeared for a little bit. I was talking about how I had this image in my mind that in order to really get in shape, I had to like beat my body into submission. I had to go hard, and I had to be doing all the type of movements. But I have been, experimenting here and there. I don't know if you had seen, like, when I put in the Discord when I did the squat challenge, and that was just such a passive thing I did because I didn't do any diets or anything. I just said, I'm going to do this challenge every day and I'm going to finish it. And I did. And to see how my body just like completely changed in a major way just from just that.
Well, I'm going to tell you, I don't believe in diets, because take the T out of diet and what does it say?
Right. Yeah.
Die.
Right.
How is anything that has diet and sustainable? It means die. No, we don't do diets. And I don't believe in people cutting things out, because to diet means to restrict. To restrict means you're going to take something out that you love, which means now I've taken something away that gives you care. So I'm messing with your mental stability. I'm making you feel like you're being punished. How is this an enjoyable experience, and why would you ever want to do this? Versus, let's talk about moderation. Can you have cheesecake every day? Perhaps not. If you do a cheesecake every day, what are you willing to do to have it? If it's this many calories, are you willing to do the squats to burn it off? It's just one of those things. Now, if you're trying to have a six-pack, then yeah, your diet is going to have some limitations, because it is a diet. Like, abs are made in the kitchen. You have to burn the transverse or your transabdominal wall. Like, it's all some science behind it. It all makes sense. But I think at the end of the day, why are you taking on this lifestyle? Is it because you want an aesthetic? Is it,
Mm-hmm.
are you just trying to have heart health? What is the intention of your health journey? For me, working out is peace of mind. I like to sweat out the funk. But what I tell everybody is like, dancing is free. Put your music on and see if you can dance 3 songs. So start off dancing. Yeah, and that's the thing. And when you cut out carbs, your body needs carbohydrates. So anything that you have to cut out, then where are you becoming deficient? Because there's a deficiency. And you're also going
I
to
will
start.
say, I will say in 2019, when I was working in retail, my knees had started hurting, and I got
Mhm,
scared because I was just like,
mhm,
I'm only in my 30s. I don't want to have to get knee surgery. And I did
right,
start doing keto, and I had lost like 35 pounds at the time.
mhm.
But I was very like, I was reading up on it, and you do have to watch out for your electrolytes. You do have to like compensate for certain things that aren't there. I was trying to get in as much vegetables and things as possible to make sure,
Well,
because they, you know, they have dirty keto and then they have clean keto and all of that.
well, here's the thing though. It even in that, because I am a licensed nutritionist, I anytime you start to cut things out, unless you are cutting out alcohol, um,
Mm-hmm.
there's carbohydrates in fruit. So it's like, what
Yeah.
kind of cutting? Are you cutting out white rice? Okay, understandable, because it turns and processes into sugar. Are you cutting out pasta? Okay, get it. But you can have quinoa, which is a protein and a carb. So
Mm-hmm.
a lot of times the things that we're learning are super weird. When
Yeah.
I train people, the one thing that I tell them is like, what if I told you if you worked out really hard, you could have a baby snicker at the end? And people are like, wait, what? I'm like, yes, when you have had a really good lift or really good workout, what does a Snicker have? A Snicker has peanuts, which is protein. It has enough sugar that it stops the body processing, so you go into what they call a burn state. So when you work out, every 45 minutes that you work out, you go into burn fat for about 4 hours. If you work out with HIIT, then that 4 hours can turn into 12 hours. So I like for women to do HIIT style workouts. Well, how do you introduce HIIT to not really get overexerted? Dance. Dance a song, stop. Dance a song.
Your your audio is kind of going out.
How about now? I
It sounds
am,
better.
okay, yeah, our internet is down, so I'm bumped off my hotspot. But yes,
Oh, okay.
when it comes to with anything in wellness, anything in fitness, anything with diet, um, you have got to understand that once you start cutting things out, what does cut out mean? It means like it's a punishment. Let's not cut things out. Let's introduce new things. Maybe have you had a star fruit before? Can you find a fruit that you can introduce that you really like? Make it a journey of exploration, not of lack. And then that is how you change the mind, because you're changing the behavior. Oh, I'm exploring. I'm exploring new foods. Okay, well, let me try Zumba out. Let me try spin class. Let me try this. If you try different things out, and you might find out that yoga's not your jam, but you love Zumba. You might find out Zumba's not your jam, you love to spin. You might find out that, you know what, you like to just put on headsets and go walk. There's so many different things, and I might try all of the things and then find your personal mix. And then, group classes are amazing. If you're not a person that you want to work out with a lot of people and you have the money, find a trainer. And it's like a trainer is like a partner or a mate. You got to find somebody that they fit your personality. Interview people and be willing to fire folks and say, like, you're an awesome person. You're just not for me. Because it's nothing worse than you're paying money to go work out with a person you don't like.
Yeah. I think it's
Yes, it's
really
like,
important to find people that that still have respect for you as a person, because as a bigger person, I am very sensitive. And when I say sensitive, I just mean I notice it a lot. Some people have a disdain for people who are overweight because they feel like it's a character flaw, when there are so many other things that go into overweight. Like, I just always think about that commercial. What's it say? Stress increases cortisol. Cortisol increases belly fat. You need really, like, I always think about that. And when you think about how they talk about Black women being the most obese and all of the myriad of things that we go through and are dealing with on a regular basis, and how that is stressful, and then add to that poverty and food deserts and trying to make $1 out of 15 cents and just trying to eat what you can have access to and all of that stuff. It's like, no
Well, let's
wonder that we get bigger. And
well let's
what were
even
you saying?
I said, well, let's even stop at that and let's talk about just being overweight. Like, where
Mm-hmm.
is that layer, in my opinion? And I used to be a big girl. In my opinion, the layer of weight for me was protection. And many times when I see someone that may be a little overweight, I think, I wonder what they need healing from. So,
Mm-hmm.
how am I, as a wellness expert, going to identify that you're not in optimal health, going to come and be even more abusive? You're already abused. Something's already happened because the body doesn't naturally hold on to weight like
Right.
that. So, it's having a wellness center focus as a trainer of like, yeah, this is something more. Also,
Well,
if I
that's
see
a whole nother discussion, because we were talking about that. We were talking about that in the Discord, and just, I mean, we talk about it in one way, shape, or form every time we're all
Mhm,
together. But just this
mhm.
idea that when people see the effects of certain things, at the very least, they can't just be empathetic, because there's so many other things that they're implicated in when it comes to
Well,
these conditions that they're observing. And
well,
so,
if you think about yesterday and the pretty privilege and how the men has such a disconnect into what is beautiful, even in the world of fitness, there is a fine line of a woman being very shapely and looking away. But in our culture, like, Black women don't like women that are muscular. That's not considered to be quote unquote feminine.
mhm,
So there is this layer of, oh, I want to be in shape, but I don't want to be the proverbial, I don't want to look like a man.
mhm.
That says something because
They
what
don't
does
want to be
looking,
strong.
well, it's not even strength. Is if I look like a man, men won't date me. They
Mhm.
won't be attracted to me if I look masculine. So I want to look feminine. And as somebody that did yoga for years, I would not lift weights. Wouldn't do it. Like, I'm like, I'm gonna bulk up and da 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 da. And as I started training and understanding how muscle work and how it, your muscle memory, and I'm like, oh, I have to be working out like a nut to look masculine. What she say? You log off? Oh,
She was talking to Christina Bell.
oh, okay. Um, yeah, it's just one of those things, and that's when we talk about Black women. What makes me happy is I will say I'm at a point to where I will only deal with high end clients, but I love the fact that there are Black women that can pay for the service, and
Mhm.
I love that because if you have to, there are certain words, and I think people need to. My husband is just like, you a trip, and I'm just like, if you have to budget me in, you can't afford me, and I don't take it personally, but the budget means you got to and I just people.
Hold on, that last part of what you're saying, we didn't quite. Well, I didn't quite catch.
I said, if you have to budget me in,
Yeah.
I'm not, I'm not, I'm not for you. Because what that means is if your income fluctuates, then your consistency with training with me is going to fluctuate. If your
Mhm.
income has stability and you have the the income, that this is just a part of your lifestyle, then yeah, that
Mm.
that's how I deem like, oh, this is a lifestyle choice. Like for some people, when I watched the interview last week, the beautiful young lady said, she said, come on, honey. um, her nails and her toes. She's like, I have to have my nails and my toes done. When I'm training with clients, I want them to feel like my wellness is an expense that is just what I do.
It's
I'm not,
essential.
it's essential. I am essential to you being healthy and happy. If I am an option, then I'm not your person. I'm not an optional trainer.
Mm.
And I'm not going to and I think that's how we need to do with people. Like if you know your value, you don't have optional friendships. You're just a friend. If I prove to be consistent, if I can get you results, if I can enhance your lifestyle, then I need to know that you're going to be consistent with that.
Wow. That Now, first of all, I just want you to know you kind of dropped something for birth of your bag right there, because coming from a background of service based work, doing hair and things like that when I was younger, that was something I struggled with, because I was always so concerned about like the client experience, and coming from that place to lack myself. And sometimes I don't have it. And so I wouldn't price my things right for me. You know what I mean? And then you do deal with people who are just kind of like, oh, I can take it or I can leave it. And then that affects your work, because you're not feeling valued, and you're not feeling, that flow of just being able to do what you do at your best.
So once upon a time, I wanted to do hair, and you know how you have an internship. When
Mm-hmm.
I went to the hair school. A salon owner was there. Went to her salon, and I'm looking, and I'm just like, oh wow, this is a gold mine. She just needed some management skills.
Mm-hmm.
But girl, I'm trying to read and do this. Um, One of the things that we came in when I came into it was just like, look at your client base. Like these people are paying $500 for a Brazilian blowout. If you pay
Mm-hmm.
500 and that's important to you, me clipping your ends, if I've got to have my scissors sharpened by somebody, if I'm using wrecking products, if I've got to go to the RDL and get top notch, like you're not using Cantu, you're using salon professional things. So I'm not going to take
Yeah.
the L. I'm not doing that. So when we restructured, and yeah, there are very small things that you can do to enhance the experience. So one of the
Mm-hmm.
things is, okay, well, let's add candles. One of the things that if I'm working with you at the end of training, you're going to get a cool towel, a lavender rub. I'm going to sprinkle some essentials. We're going to sit
Mm-hmm.
and we're going to, we'll do some manifestations. There is a value add. I'm not training and being like, okay, hmm, no, like this is a whole thing. And I'm going to be mindful enough to where you said, my knees hurt. Okay, so what I heard you say is you don't need to do updates. When we do things, we need to make sure that whatever happens, your knees are stabilized. So what does vitamin like to do? So what's the activity? Like if you like to dance, then we're going to incorporate dancing, but within that dancing, how we held that book, okay, now I need to hold that move. And I'm going to make you
Mm-hmm.
hold the move until you break into the sweat. But while you're breaking into the sweat, I'm going to coach you through this. You got this. You have enough strength. You have the mindset. Push through this. Don't give up. Don't quit. If you can do this, what else in life are you not showing up for? Because that's the other thing that I
Right.
question people. Don't go and do a workout and be halfways with it. If you don't want to work out, don't work out. When you go and work out, it's go time. Let's get it. Let's go. Let's make this happen. 1 hour. But what is this 1 hour going to birth me? That same 1 hour. 1 hour with a book. What is it going to birth me? 1 hour of just self reflection. And if you take it bit by bit, the better you take care of yourself. You're like, Well, dang, I just had a really good workout. I'm not going to go eat trash. I just busted my butt. Now you're dieting. So now we're working out. Our diet is good. You get home, you worked out, you're tired. Guess what you're getting? More sleep. Now, because you're getting more sleep and hopefully some dreams, guess what you're getting? The capacity to dream. So your quality of life begins enhanced. So you have that today, what did I do? Oh, it was that 1 hour workout that became the catalyst to change my life. That 1 hour of yoga changed my life. It was like, this is amazing. I want to feel like this all the time.
Hold on. I don't know if it's because you're talking fast or what, but it's getting garbled.
Okay, how about now? Better?
Yes.
Okay. So yeah, it's I just tell people do life in increments. Do life in pieces because when we try to overhaul everything, I need to lose 100 pounds. Why not just lose 5? Okay, did you lose that 5? Let's lose 5 more. Did you lose 5? Let's lose another 5. That's almost 25 pounds. Now we're at 75 more pounds to lose. It'll be small. And when you lose those 5 pounds, then you get to celebrate with success. You get to say, okay, if I meet my goal, what do I get to do for myself? Is it like a new dress? Am I going to get a new book? Am I going to put money away for a vacation? And then your big payoff, like you need that payoff prize. What do you want? I tell women all the time, don't go buy new clothes. Go to your closet and pick out the dress that you love that you cannot wear anymore. Hang it up somewhere that you look at it and visualize your current self in that dress. And now let's do the work. Make sense?
Yeah, it makes absolute sense. I think um I have I have way more clothing, aspirational clothing that I like to admit that I have, but I do that because it is a motivation for me. I say like I want to be my own Barbie doll. And I don't necessarily mean the dimensions of it, but like just coming from a background in the beauty industry, there's so many times that I have an appreciation for fashion and make aesthetics that I can't necessarily execute. No, mind you, I can beat my face to the gods. I can do my
Right.
hair, all of that stuff. But coming from the beauty, like a certain somebody that will not be mentioned was speaking about because they come from that industry. There is a certain things that what I'm talking about.
Woo! That when I
You know
tell
who I'm
you
talking about.
I was just
As someone,
I'm in fashion and I was like, okay, a lot of us have dealt with fashion design and hello, who is
mm-hmm,
fashion sold to more than anybody but women? So it just the fact
mm-hmm,
that the disconnect was happening, I was just like,
mm-hmm,
this is super strange. But no, I totally get what you're saying. It makes me think about I was so glad when you shared that Mugler campaign. And
mm-hmm.
I was like, you noticed my concern. I was like, well, I just don't know how these other body types are gonna look like this.
First of all, did you see those less melanated women, and they were showing them in the pants with the cutout in the on the butt part, and it was just like, y'all really
It
did that?
it was strugglesvilles for some of them. She said, "I'm glad no one told me about grown women weight. Grown women weight is here's the thing, and this is the other thing where people will say like, oh, well, when you get to be 40 or 35, your system slows down. Well, yeah, it slows down, but again, your body is a machine. So as you start to train it, it's just like anything else. It gets better. You can have the
Mm-hmm.
best body at your age. You've never been. What are you about 33?
Oh, I'm 36.
Okay, so you've never been 36 before, right?
Mm-mm.
So your
Nope.
goal should be the best body at 36 that you've ever had, not at 36, this is how the body's supposed to be. So
Yeah.
I can't stand ageism in fitness or beauty, which even with the conversation yesterday, I felt it to be a bit odd that they kept talking about, oh, well, beauty is fading. It doesn't fade because what happens is as people mature, the optics of what you're attracted to, it's not mainstream, but it doesn't mean that they're not older, attractive women. That is just not true.
There
So
are
when
certain things, certain aspects of aging. Like for instance, when I was like, I look at my daughter and she's a big girl, but
mm-hmm,
everything is tight,
mm-hmm,
and juicy. You know what I mean? And I remember when I was her age, and it was like that for me. But I love the definition in my cheeks as I'm getting older. I love, she was looking at my hands. She was like, "You have grown woman hands. You can see, the veins and the bones and the things in my hand." I find that to be beautiful. I
mm-hmm.
find those types of just details to be beautiful personally, and not just in me, in women in general. I love seeing a woman with a full head of white or gray hair. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I personally, and I've felt this way since I was probably a small girl. I don't think young women are attractive. I don't think a woman under 30 is attractive. It's
I
she's
see
a young,
babies.
yeah,
I see babies.
yeah, it's I feel like she's a young girl. Like Cicely Tyson was beautiful as she matured, and as a young woman, she was not considered to be attractive. She is a woman that, as she matured, she quote unquote got what men did, where they get more attractive. If you look at Tina Turner at her peak attractiveness, Mama was 50, 60. She was not attractive as a young woman. She had body yaddy yaddy, but the essence and the energy, and I think a lot of it has to deal with, there is a certain self-awareness of,
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going to please everybody. I'm not going to be for everybody. So all I can do is be true to myself. All I
No,
can do
baby, don't feel that way. She said cries in 27.
you'll get there, and that's the thing is I think that maturation is not celebrated a lot in our society. And
Mm-mm.
I think if we're very honest, for I think a lot of Black women, the standard for us is our mothers and our grandmothers. And they're always many, many years older than us. So the standard is not to you, it is to a more mature look. When I think I find it interesting that when you're young, you put a lot of makeup on, and then as you become older, you wear less and less makeup.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I think
In my mind, when I was going to do this platform, I was going to beat every single day. I got to represent. And I'm just like, that's not how I live my life now. That's not who I am. And mind you, can I do it? Absolutely. There's a time and a place for everything. But in general, like I wake up and I look at my face every day and I'm just like, there you are. There you are, girl. You looking good. And just loving it.
so that part, and I hope that that's another thing that I'm not a fake it till you make it, but I think that
Mm-hmm.
you can build yourself up and then be around other people that at least don't tear you down, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you get in the mirror, and it's hard to tell a person that doesn't have great esteem, like, oh, like you actually get to the point to where there you are, there you go. It may just be, I'm here. I'm here. I accept that I'm here. And then
Yeah.
it's just, I'm here turns into like, I can get better. And then I can get better turns into like, I am better. And then I am better turns into, I'm here. It's the process.
Mm-hmm.
But start with just being here. Start off with, I'm not necessarily where I want to be, but I'm here. and then not dragging all of this baggage of, oh, I'm overweight. Well, why am I overweight? Well, no, you acknowledge the problem. Now let's start getting into the solution. What do you want to do? Do you want to go and get a gym membership? Do you want to go and walk? I have 3 pair of skates. I will skate in my garage. There's so many avenues, and it's just, I want Black women to win, and part of the way that we win is by being healthy mentally, physically, and emotionally. And we have to understand, why will we not center ourselves and our wellness? I tell my students all the time, selfishness is not selfish, it's selflessness. You need to be selfish in advocating for yourself, because if you fall down, what happens to everybody else that's depending on you? If you are the breadwinner, if you are the thing that makes it go, then you need a personal timeout. Because if you run yourself raggedy, all the people that are, for lack of a better word, pulling that energy away from you, you know what they're going to do? Find somebody else to supplement. They're not going to be like, oh no, vitamin, you fell down. How do I help you? It's like, oh, you can't help me anymore.
They're gonna move just like that job, just like anything. Like if their function is to take and you have no more to give, then they're just gonna move on to the next source to get whatever it is they're trying to get.
I'll tell people all the time, you show me a woman that works out for herself every day and works out or finds something to do for herself, I show you a well-balanced woman. Michelle Obama gets up and does something every day. And like I said, it doesn't have to be this super intense, oh, let me go, I need to go get workout clothes, I need to do this. What if you just got up and danced for 5 minutes? 5 minutes in the morning, 5 minutes at night. Motion is lotion. Your issues are in your tissues, emotion is lotion. You would be amazed just through movement what will come up. And then if you just be playful with your movements, I find that adults are very stiff. If you see your daughter, like the small one, they'll swing around and do their shoulders like this, and they squat. All of these things we don't get too old to do. We stop moving. Continue to have movement.
I noticed that at my most stressed, and it's still something that I'm trying to break myself out of, I try to move as little as possible, because in my mind, that's how I am restoring myself, because everything feels like exertion. And so I'm always trying to find that balance. By when I get home, I'm just like this. I'm just like that. I don't want to move.
Well, here's the other thing. Why would you not want to exercise if you're not feeling vulnerable? But it's kind of like, I don't know if you've ever watched Seinfeld, but how George became the opposite. And he said, I'm going to do everything opposite. And he lived the life that he wanted. It's one of, like, if you know that when I'm in a dark spot, because let's just talk yoga. Your heart is right here and your throat is right here. And you go to the doctor and they say, like, are you okay? And you're just like, well, does the doctor know? Is there, they know magic? And it's like, no, a depressed body has a very specific look. They roll over, they tuck their chin, because you're trying to protect your heart and protect your throat. Your heart is your center of your thoughts. Your throat is your seat of expression, right? So you hold in, you get small. Well, what happens in exercise? There's a lot of extension. This, just heart openers in general for people, are very anxiety driven. So take your hands and throw them all the way out, and then lift your chest up and roll your shoulders down. Did you immediately feel the lift?
Yes.
So now take your hands and place them down on the ground. And just palms down, spread your fingertips, roll your shoulders.
I'm sitting in a chair, so my hands are down, but they're not touching the ground. Is that okay?
Put your hands on your thighs, and then separate your feet. And then just lift your chest up and roll your shoulders down and back. And you take a deep breath in. Try to breathe from below.
That feels amazing. That actually feels really good.
So it's an immediate grounding.
Keep doing it.
So again, when it goes back to, if I can coach you and I see your body, then why would I charge what somebody else can't do? If you can do a hairstyle that nobody else can do, then you need to price yourself for what you can do. It goes, even if you're in a corporate environment, if you know that you are providing decks and spreadsheets and conference calls and training and coaching people at a level that nobody else around you can do, and you're making the same thing as somebody that's doing nominal, you got some decisions to make. Go and negotiate a different salary or begin to look for a different job. Because that's the other thing, we get comfortable. And I like to tell people, learn to be uncomfortably uncomfortable. If you are comfortable, you are not being challenged. And if you're not being challenged, then you're not growing. And that means you're stagnant. A stagnant mind, a stagnant body. As soon as you get still, the energy can get funky. It can get very weird.
I do feel still energy sometimes. Oh no, you're going away. I hope she comes back. But I was going to say I can recognize energy feeling stale sometimes. And when she comes back, I'm going to try and talk to her about how you know that you need to integrate. I mean, I think we all can pretty much assume that we probably need to be a bit more physical in our lives, aside from people who are already quite physical. Yes, I feel exposed. But I kind of want to get into that feeling of just being stagnant, and the way that introducing physicality, intentional physicality into our lives can help to kind of expel that stagnant energy and get us moving, get our energy moving, get our manifestations moving, our goal setting moving. Seek says that's what I've been feeling. I've definitely been feeling it. And like I said, there are specific times in my life when I can point to being intentionally physical, not necessarily, I mean, I've lost 70 pounds at one point in my life, and then I've lost 50 here, 30 there, whatever. So it was technically for weight loss purposes. But other times, like one particular time that stands out is that time I did the squat challenge, and that was solely to say that I completed something. Like, it really wasn't necessarily, yes, I did want the results, but it was solely to say that I had completed something, and then it happened to come with really cool results. But even more recently, I've noticed that when we're talking about, masculinity and femininity, it occurred to me that part of the divine masculine, which we all have in us, is our physicality. And I think that is one of the things that we don't recognize, in that necessity to be mindful of our physical presentation. I know I have been struggling, and I've been talking to my therapist about it and everything, with, like she was speaking about before, dealing with how my weight is an illustration of certain traumas I've had and certain things that I've been trying to protect myself against. And I even think of it as me, taking up the space that I didn't feel able to take up energetically, within my life and my experiences. Hold on, she's back. I'm going to add her now. You're back now.
I know. It just does not want to play nice.
All right, there you go.
Talk about, what were you saying?
But honestly, I feel like yours has been the least problematic of like all the people that well, I only had that one, and then like I was struggling by myself before I was connected to the Ethernet. So this has been one of the least eventful, negatively eventful lives in this. So don't feel bad. But I was saying that I wanted to talk to you about, and you kind of touched on it a bit, what are some of the signs of needing to inject more intentional physicality into one's life? You were talking about like the posture, and I was talking about like stagnant energy, not being able to perform.
I think I think we all can be honest enough of when we are at our best, in the sense of, um, I think, especially as a Black woman, sometimes just exhaustion. But if you are so exhausted that all you can do is work and home, and you don't have the energy to do brunch, you don't have the energy to be around family, you go into self isolation. To me, that's very concerning. Um,
Mm-hmm.
if there's something that you love to do, like if you loved to be dolled up, if you loved to go out and you can't do that anymore, that is concerning. So what, and then not introducing new things. If you don't have one new friend, not try one new restaurant, no new experiences, you're probably in a place that, one, you need to talk to a professional. Um, and like I said, I tell people all the time, therapy is amazing. Um, and there's some things that I don't necessarily think are fair to put on friends and family. They don't have the skill set, especially if they're not solution based. And then I also tell people, question the conversations that you have.
Mm.
Are you having commiserating sessions? Are you with somebody and y'all just complain together? Are you just sharing the woes of the day? Woe is me, this was bad. Woe is me, this was bad. Be very careful of the company that you keep, and also how do you feel after those conversations? Because if you feel depleted every time you talk to somebody, including a parent, you need to limit the conversations with them. It's very unfair to feel like someone's always taking. So it's one of those things, like, you have to really question, when I get done with this conversation, do I feel, what's my takeaway? Do I feel good? Did I feel questioned or challenged? Um, or do I feel like they came in and dumped? Do I feel worse now? And if it is this consistent? Like, is this just a one off? Because sometimes our friends just be going through and you have to just be there with them, right? But
Yeah.
if every time I talk to you, you are in distress, I have to decide, because I have to decide if it's my responsibility to take on your additional stuff, especially if it's not a back and forth. But then again, are we trauma bonding? What's binding us together? Is it like, hey girl, like the person I talk to every day, we do devotionals together. I'll do a prayer, she'll do a prayer. I'll put on
Mm-hmm.
some worship stuff, she'll put some worship stuff within the Discord. It is like, we can acknowledge that this sucks, but this is great. This person has this going on. You know, your baby went to prom. So she just graduated. We have people's, graduations, and it's a balance of the energy. I do not believe in extremism in any way. In yoga, the actual goal is called samadhi, and samadhi means to be even. So where are you temperate, right? What's your baseline? For most people, they hate the word settle, and especially settling. Like, how did you take something? Because to settle means to come to agreement, right?
Mm-hmm.
So when you're with a partner, how is coming to an agreement a problem? Well, you also need to settle your spirit. So a yogi, in sense, and this is, most people in the West cannot be yogis. We are yoga practitioners. We practice yoga. A yogi never marries. A yoga, like a yogi, prays sun up, sundown. You have your practices, but if you have a household and a family, you are a practitioner of yoga. We like to say yogis, but no. But when we go back to the balancedness in our life, like, have you met the person that they're always here, they're always up? I'm so happy. Life is great. It's amazing. Nothing can stop me. And you just be like, ooh, girl, okay. But that same person, that life is amazing, when it's not, is here. They become Eeyore. Life sucks. Nothing goes well. I'm this
Mm-hmm.
and this. So the goal is to be here. And when you have physical practice, when you work with wellness, when you do meditation, it's so that the highs kind of, okay, this is my baseline. I had a
Mm-hmm.
high, okay, come down. I had a high, I come down. I had a low, I come up. You don't want to come from here to here, nor do you
Mm-hmm.
come from here to here. You want to even it out. So if you see a healthy heart, you see what? Consistency, a peak and out, not this peak up, peak down. You
Yeah.
again, in your fitness, everything in moderation. If you've never worked out, why would you go into a gym and say, okay, I've been worked out ever. I'm gonna go work out for an hour. No, I'm gonna join the gym. I go to the gym. Day one. Day two. I'm gonna go to the gym. I drive to the gym. I go to the locker room. Day three. I go to the gym. I go to the locker room. I walk around the gym. As you start to create the habit, what are you training your mind to do? To go to the gym. Now, once I'm used to going to the gym, okay, I go work out for 10 minutes, come back down. You do that for 2 weeks. Let's bump it up to 20. Okay, well, you've already been going to the gym almost 3 weeks, right? You're
Mm-hmm.
not stressed out, you're not overwhelmed, and you build upon that. And then you take those classes. If they offer classes, find a class that you like. Find a machine that you like. I always like to say, what's your dream? You have to find out what's your personal dream. And once you find it, then, okay, what is as close to this that's different? I love yoga. Yoga and dancing are very much free balance. So I take Afrobeats classes. I'll take a Zumba class. Okay, well, now my heart rate is beating. What can I mimic that's like this? Oh, it's spin class because the spin class has got music. It's upbeat. It's fun. Okay, now I've got something else. All right, what else can I do? And it's just introducing different things, different things. Before you know it, you found your stuff. You found like this is it. Oh, I love Pilates or I love running.
Yeah.
But you also have that supplemental of okay, well if it's raining outside and I can't run, I know I can go and do this. Or if this
Yeah.
isn't working, I know I can, go do 10 minutes of squats. And I even tell people if you're working out at home, it's even better because you can break that workout into your evening. Work out 10 minutes, sit and
Yeah.
watch a show. Work out 10 minutes, sit and watch a show.
That
Work
is
out.
what I do. When I get it, when I do start like trying to impart a regimen, typically I'll try to impart something that just has me sitting. And
Mm-hmm.
I'll do like even with the resistance bands on my legs or things like that. And I will just break it down into, I'll do this many once part of the day. And then I'll come back and do maybe like three separate times during the day, do this many reps or something. But I
Right.
do try to break it down into like smaller little pieces I can nibble off at because it is daunting to me. Like I said, in my mind, that is the goal that, oh, I'm this gladiator that just works out for 8 hours a day. You know what I
Right.
mean? But
Right. And
I'm nowhere near that. I'm nowhere near that. So I do try to give myself credit when I do something consistently.
and that's the other thing. It's like just do something. I mean, it may be it sounds super weird. If it's just you getting up at home and putting on some workout clothes and sitting back down, we have to retrain our mind. And I think for so many people, they want the pinnacle of success that they miss the journey. And I tell people all the time, don't be so caught up in the end result that
Mhm.
you miss how you got there. Because then you have to look back instead of saying, oh, well, I'm not where I was, not where I want to be, but I'm not there. Let me enjoy where I am right now so I never have to come here again. Because oftentimes I think we find in life that we are in familiar places with familiar spirits because we didn't learn the lesson. I don't want to be here again. I don't want to be in a particular place again. So I'm going to look around and observe. And even if it's a good place, like One of my mantras is life is good, but it can only get better, because I think that's the other thing, that people are very afraid of happiness. You get a piece
Mhm.
of it, you're like, this is not going to last.
Yes, I've had that happen a few notable times in my life where I'm like, this feels too good. And then I actively start looking for the trap door.
It is the proverbial, when is this going to end? And then you begin to what? Think is going to end, and then what happens? So your thoughts of today are your
Mm-hmm.
children of tomorrow. So when that this feels really good, what it's like, no, this feels great. I
Mm-hmm.
deserve this. It's gonna
Yeah.
feel even better. This is for me. I earned this. Have you seen my trail of tears? I earned this happiness. This is my peace. This is my joy. I earned getting into this dress. I earned my body. I earned my wellness. I wrote this book. I earned my platform. My platform is successful. You've had 4 to 5 streams. You've seen, from Themis. At one point, it was 800 views. Now you look, it's 1,000 people watching live. But he was steady in the game. So if you are a fruity, what I know is, one, you're intelligent. Two, I know you are all about self improvement. And three, I know you're willing to do the work. Consistency is key. Consistency is key. Your character, you have to be a person of character, and then you just need to be committed to the cause. I am committed to being the best possible me, not what people say I should be, my best person, and for
Mm-hmm.
nobody but me. And if I'm married or partnered, or if you're a parent, you being your best self, your daughters win, right? Yeah, you being better doesn't take away from them. You being better doesn't take away from your job. So it's a win-win. So what you say, they want a win. They don't
Yeah,
want
they just want to
a win.
win.
And it's the same thing in life. You got to be around people also that are cheering for you.
Yeah.
And it's unfortunate, as you're winning, begin to speak abundance in other people's lives. Like,
Mm-hmm.
I'm thinking we can have this too. I'm not taking from your pot. Girl, I can't wait till you get XYZ. Oh, I did. I'm doing
Yeah.
XYZ. Yours is coming, sis. It's coming. Be excited about other people being in abundance, because if everybody winning, you know what you don't need? Anything for me. We can all go to the table and not
We
worry
can
about.
all come to the table and we can make more for everybody.
And then it's like, look at us. Okay, now we winning. Our kids see us winning. We're winning for the next generation. So it's just a shift, I think, in me in reality. I think it's even we talk about like beauty. Okay, well, what did you do to get really comfortable? Because there are some people that are not, quote unquote, traditionally beautiful, but like Paul Rudd, I don't think aesthetically, like, he's not a Brad Pitt, right?
Paul
But
Rudd. Oh, I've loved him since I was a child. But I also recognize that because I was a Little Mermaid kid, like that was my first ever VHS tape. That was my first. I wound up having a thing for brunette white men. So pay
makes
me
this
no
exactly.
mind.
That's what, no, and you know what? I will say The Little Mermaid was my favorite
Mm-hmm.
favorite movie growing up. I find that movie to be so disturbing now as an adult, because essentially what you told this young girl that was a princess, that had family that loved her, that had fidgets and thingamabobs, that had
Yes.
friends, that life was not complete because she did not have a man. And in order to get the man, then you should lose your voice. But you get a man. That is weird programming.
It took once I got older, because then right after that was Beauty and the Beast. And I really was like Beauty and the Beast because I was a reader. Like I just read and read
Mm-hmm.
and read. So then I saw a lot of that in my mindset, in my book. It's in my book. But that mindset of I can fix him, I can change him, I'm going to show him how to be a person, type of thing. And it was a very eye opening for me when I got older, and then we got into that phase of Disney effed us up, you know.
I believe that Disney promotes struggle love. And I don't think it's just Disney. I think, I've been really, really thinking, because one thing that men are allowed to do is be strong, to be fit, to work out, to build muscle, to show your uh, show your body off. And women not so much, but I'm just like, what conditioning do young girls get from the very beginning? You're giving baby dolls. You have toy cleaning toys. You have toy kitchens, easy bake ovens. From your minute you're on here, you're being taught how to care and nurture for somebody else. But you're
I
not
will.
taught.
I have other things to offer in that area because yes, we're taught to be nurturers, but when it comes to sexuality, we are taught to be sexual, but we are not taught to own sexuality. We are taught to be sexually alluring because even if you look at like that whole thing once Britney Spears was emancipated again and everything like that, and people started showing how Britney Spears' career went and how she was attacked for being a young woman and being pushed in that way. And that wasn't, her, that was the machine. And young girls are, prettied up for consumption, but
Yes.
we are taught to not mentally connect to this is sexuality and it belongs to me and I can want something from it and I can get things with it and things like that. So then, like I said, when you see the vitriol that a Cardi B or a Megan Thee Stallion gets for saying, oh, this is mine and I want some stuff for it, and I'm not necessarily saying that that's a good thing or a bad thing, but just this whole idea that, oh yeah, we're taught sexuality, but we're not taught that it's for us, and we're
Well,
not supposed to think of it as something for us.
and I think that's the other thing when we talk about health, like, what is your sexual health like? Um,
Mm-hmm.
it's uncomfortable for some people, but I'm like, when was the last time you brought yourself to pleasure? Um, Go get a toy. Like, you're taught masturbation is bad. Well, masturbation is helps mentally. It helps release stress. It helps with the mind, and it
Mm-hmm.
also teaches you how to touch yourself. Like, if you can't verbally tell somebody else, touch me here, here, and here, and the match is
Right.
it's one of those things, like, explore your own intimacy. Get a feather and touch your own body. Give yourself your own rub downs. Begin to fall in love with you and learn to please you, so that if you meet someone and decide to commit to them, you can tell them what you need. Because so often I think we can tell people, I don't like that, but we can't say, this is what I like
This
and
is what I do
I
like.
right. So it's just, to me, your single years or non-coupled is it's to explore what you enjoy, explore what makes you feel good, explore, what, hey, if I don't work out, I don't feel great. So if we're going to be together, I need to work out 3 days a week. Is that going to be a problem for you?
Mm-hmm.
And that's like that kind of stuff. It helps you to have boundaries. Hey, I like this kind of meat or this kind of meal because it makes me feel really good. Are you willing to have two separate meals, or willing to do different things food wise? Because what I found is this diet is optimum for my health. It might not be the same thing for yours. So it's just, again, what is best for you? How can you serve yourself? And then with people with children, especially young girls, I will tell people, don't teach your children to be sacrificial lambs. If
Yeah.
they never see you do anything for yourself, you are teaching that child struggle love. You may be
Mm-hmm.
telling, don't struggle, don't do this. But if they see you doing everything and never taking time for yourself, then you are abusing that kid, because they are going to grow up and mimic the behavior.
Yeah.
Mom took time out. I'm taking a time out. No, I'm going to the mall for myself. I'm going to go do so and so for me, for nobody else but me. And it's not a bad thing. And again, the more that you feed into taking care of yourself, the better you are going to feel and the better person you're going to be for the planet. Like, I want people to just be good. I don't care how you identify.
Yeah.
I don't care what you like. I want you to be the best possible human you can be, because
Just be a good person.
it's the better you are, the less harm you're going to cause me. And that's what yoga is.
Right.
When you see people say, um, the light in me, namaste, means the light in me recognizes the light in you. And because I recognize the light in you as myself, I'll cause you no harm. And because you recognize the light in me as yourself, you will cause no harm. And together we do life together. The whole separation of me, you can be self-focused, but also see yourself in other people. Because
Yes.
even with, let's say, with said person, have I been the person that's been a know-it-all? Have I communicated in a way that it might have been off-putting or unsettling? I have. And I can identify it, and I don't want to have this kind of look. So let me be more aware in my communication. That's how I think you take that energy and make it work for you. And if it continues to show up, I think it's an opportunity for all of us to be like, am I demonstrating that I need attention? Am I making the conversation all about me? And if it's a no, then it's like, wow, look at the growth. Look at how I've grown. Because I don't show up like this any longer.
Mhm.
And then you get the space of like, well, gosh, when I was showing up like that, I was hurt. So at the end of the
Yeah.
day, thank God that you're not in that space. So then gratitude comes from it. Man, God, you brought me so far. I'm so I'm blessed. I'm fortunate. You've made some provision. I did the work, because I find it incredibly pitiful. It's sad to me. I it's annoying, but I think it's a healthy reminder of once upon a time I was there and I'm not. Wow, go me, look at me. So that
Mhm.
what you say there, here I am. I will mystical it in a minute, which that's unfortunate. What you can't see him no more, but nevertheless, here I go me. I mean, my goodness. Do you have more questions or anything
Well,
else?
no, I was gonna say, well, I'm gonna wrap up now, but I thank you so much for coming on, and I just wanted to open up the floor for you to tell us what do you have going on, where can we find you, where can we sign up for your
Okay.
services?
So I am at Fitwell Tiffany. I have a website. I have the Instagram. I have the Facebook. If you want to see me get in my bag, I'll be with Themis and Thought with the fruitcake gang. Um, right now I'm doing mostly meditation. I am getting into the coaching of wellness.
Mhm.
I want Black women feel empowered, and I want to help Black women have the language to be able to be bold enough and own and say what they need. I think we don't have the words to express this is what I want, this is what I need. We can say what we don't want. What do you want? And if you're willing to do the work, then I'm willing to get you there.
Well, that is great. I'm gonna try because I wanted to give them some information. So what I'm going to do, and I don't have a community tab yet.
Mhm.
So what I'm trying to do now is is send myself a screenshot of your
Huh?
information you sent me.
Oh yeah.
I'm going to
And
send
then
that to my
um,
Instagram and then I can share it.
I am eventually going to try to do this YouTube thing. I commend you for doing it because I've seen, just some of the backlash, and I think maybe it's
Mm-hmm.
based on create, but I like to self critique. Some
Mm-hmm.
criticism from that I think is good, but this space seems to be a little hypercritical. So I want to say kudos to you. I love that you have, I feel like you found your jam of inviting people on that
Mm-hmm.
further your pitch to add a richness to your content. So I'm looking forward to my book coming and watching other people come up and just share their experience. I loved last week. Your friend is beautiful. She is stunning.
You,
And
she's gonna love that you said that. She's gonna love that you said that.
no, she's stunning. And I just like how she talked about just taking care of herself.
Yeah.
It was
Yes.
very nice. And then I just loved to see you guys build each other. Um, it was super dope the way that y'all complimented each other, and it was genuine. You could see the sisterhood, and I love when Black women partner well with other Black women. It's very inspiring. So
I always
I
think about I always think about what's that called on when Oprah, when she was talking about Gail, she is the sister I never had. She is the mother. But I think that about like all of my friends that I really consider very dear. I
Mhm.
feel that way about them. There's something about the kinship of really like coming and seeing someone and being seen by them that is just, I don't even know how to describe it in
well, I
words.
think well, I think it's those I consider I when people say soul ties, I think that friendships are soul ties. And I think some
Yeah.
friendships can birth more growth than intimate partnerships because they are with you through some really trying times. A friend
Hmm.
has seen you at your best and your worst, and they love you in spite of. Hey, Miss
Yeah.
B. It is one of those things to where when you find a soul connection, when you talk to somebody and you get excited and you're like, yes, girl, because when you talk, I feel that like, oh, so what else is she gonna say? Oh, yes, I like that. Oh, that's oh yeah. And it's like, I tell you, I know that people we joke about Willow, but we joke about that, yeah, yeah.
Hmm.
But we really know what the yeah
Yeah.
is. We think she's not old enough to know that, yeah. But I don't think we understand that she's had a lot of space to emotionally mature, that where it takes
Yeah.
you to be 30, she's had the access and resources to be able to, yeah, at 21. Yeah, yeah. I
She
get
can just
that.
resonate, and there's no resistance to it, and there's no like I gotta integrate this into my program because she's just like, oh yeah, that makes sense. Oh yeah, that feels good. Like she can just feel, and I
Mhm.
don't think people understand just how resistant people in general are to feeling, to being able to just feel, and it doesn't, good things as well as bad things, you know what I mean, to be able to just say that feels bad, and it just be, that feels bad to me, I don't like it, as opposed to hey, you know.
And I tell people all the time that wherever you are. You
Mm-hmm.
can run from the situation. You are still you. You can change the dynamic. You still have to do it yourself. So, out to wrap it up, what I will say is write the things down that you're scared to figure out what's going on with you because you have to reveal to heal. Take the stuff out. Be willing to deal with the shadows. If you find it some heavy stuff, get some help. Go to blackgirltherapy.com. We have all kind of apps, but find a professional or a coach, someone to help you work out your issues. um, Bring some light to the darkness, bring some light to the secrets, get the healing, and then get a plan and work your plan, and be willing to do it one step at a time, one day at a time, minute by minute. Healing takes work, happiness takes work, but it's all a choice. And you need to empower yourself to be peaceful and happy because if you're on this planet, then that's what God wants for you. And that is your birthright, to be peaceful, to be happy. and to live in abundance.
I know that's right. But there's no better way to end it than on that note. Thank you so much, Tiff, for coming on. I'm going to go ahead and play the outro, and then I'll just go ahead and close out.
Thank you for having me.
You're welcome.
Roll smooth with 'em.
So here we go. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I know I definitely enjoyed the conversation. It was nourishing. I'm very big on words. It was a very nourishing conversation, and that was my intent for it. Like I want us to be able, like I said, to tap into what it actually feels like to embody these concepts that we are constantly being either told we need to aspire to, or just generally pinpoint what it's supposed to feel like for us. So I'm very, very grateful to Tiff for coming onto the show again. I have something special. Next week is going to be our first birth your bag. It should be our first birth your bag talk. So that's really important. But other than that, I hope you guys have a wonderful evening. Thank you so much for spending this time with me. I greatly appreciate your attention. I don't know if I say that enough, but I want you to know I appreciate your eyes on me. Please like, share, subscribe, talk about it in the comments. You can also email me at Kiana at levelupsinglemom.com. That's QUIANNA at levelupsinglemom.com. And I hope to see you next week, 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Thema said he was going to go live tonight. I hope he is. I don't know. But if I don't see you there tonight, I will see you there on Friday. All right. Have a good night, guys.